welcome to our 11:30 bird encounter. My name is Caileigh. In just a minute, you're going to meet Megan and Helen, and they're going to bring out 3 really cool species of birds for you guys to meet. Have any of you been to an encounter before? No? Awesome. So these birds are going to come up right to your feet, so you guys got really good front seats, and they're going to fly right over your heads. So what we want to make sure that we do is keep our hands in our laps, and we stay as quiet as possible, just because these birds really, yeah, you can definitely take pictures. These birds really like to come up close with you guys, but they get a little nervous when you reach out and try to touch them or yell close to them. So get excited, it's going to be really fun. So our first bird is Zazu, and he is a wrinkled hornbill. If any of you have walked around the aviary before you came in here, you may have seen our other ground hornbills out in exhibit. And they look a lot different from these guys, I'm sure you can tell. They're a lot bigger, and they're not such good flyers. Zazu is an arboreal hornbill, which means that he lives up in the tops of trees. So you can tell he's an awesome flyer, and he's a lot smaller, so you can get a lot of really good flights. And isn't that a crazy looking beak? Yeah, it's really awesome. Now I want to tell you my favorite thing about hornbill beaks, but before I do, can you guys try and look at your nose without crossing your eyes? Try to look at the tip of your nose. Can you see it? No, you can't see the tip of your nose, right? So it looks like his beak would be really hard to see because it's so big and it'd be really difficult to grab his food. But hornbills are actually able to see the tip of their beak perfectly. So even though that beak is super big and in the way, it's actually perfect for him to be able to grab lots of fruits out of the trees. So he lives in Thailand and Malaysia, and he lives in the forests there. So he can actually fly around in the forest and grab fruits right out of the trees, which is pretty cool, while he's flying. And you can also see that little bump that he has on top of his beak. That is known as a cast. And all hornbills have those. So if you didn't get to check out the hornbills in the exhibit, you can check them out and see that they have them as well.
He always flies over my head.
Yeah, it's feel really cool, right?
What are you giving him to eat?
He's eating lots of different kinds of fruit. His favorite fruits are raspberries and grapes and banana. Those are what he really likes. Do you like any of those fruits?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys like to eat what hornbills like to eat, which is pretty cool. So he has that cast on his head, and that's actually used to talk to all his friends, because he lives in big flocks in the forest. And he uses that as a megaphone to make his voice sound really loud, so that if they're far away and he wants to let them know that he found some really yummy fruit to eat. He doesn't really make the sound out here. It kind of sounds like a drum. It's really, really deep, so it can travel really far in the forest, because deep sounds can travel really far. So he uses that as an amplifier to make sure all of his friends and family can hear if there's some really good fruit out in the forest. Does anybody have any questions about Zazu? He's pretty cool, right? He's really cute. You have a question?
Yeah, what's the little thing?
That's a pouch that he can actually use to help make his sound. But it's really pretty, and it also shows off all his cool colors. So if he wants to go into, if he goes into mating season, he wants to get some beautiful mate, he can show that off to see how pretty he is. The girls don't have such pretty ones. They are all black, and they just have a little bit of yellow. You have a question?
And what's the bump on his beak?
The bump on the top, that's his cast. So he uses that to amplify his sound, make it sound really loud like a megaphone, so that all of his friends can hear him if he's trying to tell them something. That's cool, right? So our next bird is another really pretty bird. And what's really cool about all these birds is that they're not native to Utah, but you guys can definitely check out all the pretty birds we have right here. And sometimes we don't even notice all the pretty birds we have in our own backyard. Like if you really like Zazu's pretty eyes, he has blue around his eyes, mourning doves, which we might ignore all the time because they're just kind of brown, they actually have really beautiful blue-green eyes, just like Zazu. So you guys should definitely check out birds in your own backyard when you get home. Now our next bird is Kambo, and he is a red-crested turako. He's really pretty, isn't he? He is native to Africa, and you can see that he would blend in really well in the rainforest, right? Because he has all those bright green colors. And he even has that red on his head to help him blend in with the different bright colored fruits. But what's really cool about red-crested turakos is the food that they eat. So he likes to eat berries as well, just like Zazu, but he especially likes to eat poisonous berries. So what would happen if we ate poisonous berries?
We would
Get sick, right? You get really sick. But when when Kambo eats poisonous berries, he actually can store that poison in his skin so that it makes him taste really bad. Because he's pretty small, and there are a lot of predators in the rainforest that might want to eat him because he's so tiny. But he tastes really bad, so if they take a bite out of him, they'll spit him right back out because he doesn't taste very good. But taking a bite out of him wouldn't be very good for him, would it? That would hurt a lot. So Kambo has another really cool warning signal to tell other animals that he tastes really bad. So when he's just sitting on Megan's hand, you can see that he's all green. but when he flies, I want you guys to look at his wings and see what color you see. She's thinking about it. Well, if he doesn't, I'll let you know if he doesn't fly. I'll tell you. But it's way cooler to get to see it. Did you see the color? You see red? That's really awesome, right? So he uses that signal just like we have stop signs and red lights to tell other animals to stay away because he tastes really bad. Now, my favorite thing about Kambo is that even though he's from Africa and we don't have turacos here in the United States, we actually have a bird that's native to Utah that's related to him. And I want you guys to try and guess what bird is related to him. But don't look at his colors, because his colors are perfect for blending in the rainforest. But we don't have any rainforest here in Utah. So the bird that looks like him has his long legs and his long tail and that head crest. But their colors are different to blend in with the habitat here in Utah. Can anybody guess what bird might be related to Kambo? We actually have them here at the aviary. You may have seen them today. That's a good guess. Toucans do have all the colors that he has. But this bird here in Utah has different colors. This bird has lots of browns to blend in with the Utah environment. If you guys don't have any guesses, here's another hint. He's not eating any poisonous berries here, but he is eating lots of different kinds of berries and a pelleted diet, just like if you gave your dog or cat dog food or cat food, he's eating special food just for him. But, so if you guys can't guess, here's another hint. Kambo can run around on the tops of trees really well because in the rainforest all the branches are so dense that he can just run across them. So the bird here in Utah can run really well on the ground. Did you say roadrunner? Yeah, you're totally right. He is related to roadrunners. Yeah, he's a roadrunner too. Yeah, they are both cuckoos. So even though they live in totally different parts of the world, they are related in the cuckoo family. And we actually have a third kind of cuckoo here at the aviary. Did anyone see our guerra cuckoos in backyard birds? Well, if you have, you should totally check them out because I'm not going to tell you what habitat they live in. But based on the colors of their feathers, they're really good at camouflaging in that environment. So you can see that Kambo is really good at camouflaging in the rainforest, and roadrunners are really good at camouflaging on the ground. So I want you guys to check out the guerra cuckoos and see if you can tell where they're really good at camouflaging. Does anyone have any questions about Kambo?
Why does he have so much colors?
He has all those colors to blend in the rainforest because the rainforest has lots of bright colors. You can see all these plants. This is the kind of plants that would be there, and he would blend in really well with those, right? All his colors look just like that. And he has all that red on his head because that can help blend in with berries and break up his coloring so he doesn't look like a bright spot of green in all the different colors of the trees.
And what's that crest on his head?
Yeah, that's his crest. So he's just, some birds just
What is it for?
Well, we're not 100% sure what it's for, but you can see sometimes he lifts it up and sometimes he puts it down. So if he's thinking about things and trying to figuring out what we're asking him to do, he'll put it up. And then when we're just feeding him and he's not really thinking about his next step, he just puts it down because he's not thinking about much anymore. Anyone have any other questions about Kambo? Well, our last birds are some of the cutest birds I think we have in the aviary, and I think you guys will agree. You may have seen their family members out in the flamingo pond, but they're going to come out and you're going to see how cute they are. You can hear them right now. They're making little whistling sounds. That is a tip to what their name is. It's good that you get to hear it because normally when they come out you don't get to hear them make that sound. This is Salt and Pepper, and they are white-faced whistling ducks, and they are super cute, right? Now what's really cool about these two is that we can actually have guests feed them. So would anyone like to feed Salt and Pepper? Yeah? You too? You can come right up here if you want. Come stand next to me. Can you come stand right here? Or actually, here, come over here so you can get pictures. And you can kneel down right next to me. Can you kneel down? Kneel down. Awesome. Thank you. And put your hands right down like this. Put your hands up. And then Megan's going to put some food in your hands. And just keep them flat on the ground so the ducks can eat right out of your hands. You can sit over here.
What kind of ducks are
These are white-faced whistling ducks. And it's a really good name because they have white faces and they whistle. So it's really easy to remember what their names are. Did you like that? Did it feel really cool? So these ducks are actually native to South America and Africa. You guys want to come down as well? Don't step on them. Be careful. You can face your mom. These guys are native to South America and Africa, and that's a really weird hard place to be native to, because most of the time when birds... You guys want to go back to your seats so they can add to? Thank you so much. Good job, guys. Good job. So these guys are native to South America and Africa. What's really cool about that is that they are both tropical areas, and mostly when birds live in tropical areas, they don't need to migrate because it's warm all year round. But it's really weird, and we believe that they may have been introduced by humans to one of the areas, and we're only original in one of the two, but we're not sure which is which. So it's actually sort of a bird mystery as to what area they are native to. Now, my favorite thing about these birds is that they're actually tree ducks. Now, have you ever seen a duck in a tree before? No. You have? You did see a duck in a tree? That's really cool. Now, these ducks have long legs and a long neck, and if they walk up close to you guys, you can actually see that they have a claw on the back of their foot, which makes it really easy for them to actually perch up in trees.
I noticed that when I was
Yeah. So most ducks don't actually have that claw because they don't need to sit up in trees. But these guys can not only sit up in trees, right? A little stumble there. But they can sit up in trees, and they can actually build their nest in trees. Now what's special about that is that a lot of birds build nests in trees, right? But most birds that lay eggs in trees, their babies are born without any feathers, and they can't open their eyes or even really move. So they're safe up in that nest, and their parents can come and feed them. But when baby ducks are born, they're what's known as precocial, which means that they can do everything their parents can do except fly. So they're up in the top of that nest, and they have to leave the nest on their first day of life so they can follow their parents to food. But they can't fly, so they actually have to jump out of the nest without any feathers, and they have to land on the ground safely. And it looks really scary. I've seen video, and they look pretty nervous too. But they're really safe because their parents make sure to build the nest high above lots of soft leaves and dirt. And have you guys ever seen baby ducklings before? You probably saw some today. They have all of that nice soft fluff on them, which is like a built-in cushion. So when they land on the ground, they're always safe. And that's really, really cool.
So do they just instinct where they fall? Or?
Yeah, sometimes their mom will jump out first while she'll fly. And then they'll just sort of follow her because they don't have any food up in that nest for them, which is really cool. Now, we don't have whistling ducks here in Utah, but we do have wood ducks. And wood ducks do that same tree behavior. So you can actually build a wood duck nest box in your own yard and possibly see wood ducks babies leaping out of the nest, which is really cool. Or at least check out video because it is a really cool thing to get to see. Do you have any questions about the whistling ducks?
Why is their feet shaped like that?
Those are webbed feet because they like to swim in the water. So it's just like flippers that people can wear so that they can swim around and move really fast. So they actually got the idea for those from ducks and other swimming animals like ducks. Yeah, they're going to go back. Does anyone have any other questions about the whistling ducks? You do?
Where do they live?
They live, well, here, they actually live here at the aviary in our flamingo pond. So if you really like them, you can actually go check them out and you can see their family. But in the wild, they live in South America and Africa. So they live really far from here, right? So those are the 3 birds we have for you guys today. You got to see Zazu, the wrinkled hornbill, and hopefully you guys get to check out the birds in your own backyard that might be just as beautiful as him. You guys got to see Kambo, the red-crested Turaco, and you should definitely check out our roadrunners and our guaracucus out in the aviary. And you got to see Salt and Pepper, our white-faced whistling ducks. And you can check out their cousins here in our flamingo pond, and hopefully you look for wood ducks in your own backyard. That's all. Thanks for coming, and have a good day at the aviary.